Hey, hey. Okay, I want to talk about a few things here. First, let's talk about our nails. Your fingernails, you can see I use my middle. See that I have a little bit of nail extending out past the meat of my finger. Normally I like to keep my nail a little long, but a lot of times it'll break off. Not necessarily from me playing, but just living life, it'll break off. So, what I do when I have a short nail, there's several things. First of all, you don't need a nail. You can play with no nail. Very short nails, there's lots of men out there that play, and they don't have very long fingernails, and they still manage to play. It's no big deal. It is a little bit of a different touch when you don't have a nail, and you just mess with your angle a little bit until you get that touch down. Personally, my favorite way is to just have a little bit extending out past the meat of my finger, and that seems to work the best for me personally. But there's lots of people who don't have a nail at all, and then there's other options you can do. First, I'll show you your standard metal pick that bluegrass players will wear like this to pick up on the strings. You can take that and turn it over so that it's like this and play with it. Okay? I don't ever use picks. That's just my personal preference. Lots of people use picks and they use them successfully. I don't like them. Just me. So that's one option for you. Just a couple of bucks will get you one of those if you want to try that out. Here's another option. It's a clear little thing. It's called a Fred Kelly Freedom Picks. It's under 10 bucks. You can get it off of eBay. Just slides over your finger, and you can play that way too. Okay, that works just fine. Again, me personally, I don't like any kind of picks, so I try to not use picks. Another thing I want to talk with you about is muting your banjo. Now, I know you're thinking, Mandy, why on earth would I ever want to mute this beautiful sounding banjo? Well, as you can imagine, when you first start out, your friends and family might not refer to what we do as music. They might call it something else. Though me and you will call it music, okay? So we might want to consider muting our banjos. If you have little kids in your house, which I have a child that's young, so I mute my banjo quite regularly after she goes to bed or whatever. If I'm just in another room and I don't want to be too loud, I'll mute my banjo. So here's a couple of options. Okay. We can mute our bridge, okay? And you can do that several ways. You can take a sponge, like a dish soap sponge, and you can take your clothespins, and you can put some sponge onto right underneath the gripper part of your clothespin, and grip on your bridge there, and that'll deaden the sound some. Notice how that deadens it some. You can do that. Another good thing, and this is my go-to thing, a good old dish rag. You fold it up and shove it under the tension rods if you have them. And obviously if you have a resonator banjo, this will be a little difficult. So this might not work for you, but I'm going to give you another option. So there's that rag under there, and let's see how that does. That mutes it quite nicely. And you can adjust that by moving the rag. The farther away from the bridge you go, the more sound you'll get. You're still muted, but not quite as much as down here, as you're moving it down there. Okay, take that back out. Here's another inexpensive option. It's just a little piece of rubber. It's called a violin mute. And what you do is you just put it on over top of your bridge there, in between your strings, obviously. You don't want to touch your strings. My dog has chewed mine up a little bit, so it's a little funky. But anyway, and that mutes it extremely well, maybe too well. But just different options for you to use there. And then there's other gizmos that people have that mute it as well. So there's any number of things you can do to mute it, and that may help you gain favor with your family. Anyway, until you get a lot better. Okay, and I also want to talk to you about capos. A capo is a little device. Some look like this. Some others look like this. I have this little gizmo here that I unscrew and slide down. Screw it back on. A capo basically just squeezes down on your neck to push the strings down. And remember, you always have to capo your 5th string too. But that capo, we use that at this stage to change the key of what we're playing in. For instance, if you're playing with a fiddle a lot, fiddles like to play in the key of A. So to get in the key of A, if you're in standard G tuning, you capo up 1, 2 frets, okay? Going from a G to an A would be G, G sharp, or A flat at the 1st fret, and A at the 2nd fret. So there you go. You'd be ready to play an A if you capo your 5th string. Now, capoing the 5th string, several ways of doing that. You can either just tune your 5th string up to A. If you need to go higher than that, you might want to get a little device, but you just tune it up to A. If you have spikes installed, they're these little tiny spikes that you can slide your string under. You can use those, and there's any number of little gadgets out there to do that. There's a Reagan 5th string tuner. I've used that before. I think it's under $15. I didn't particularly like it, but again, that's just me. There's a lot of things I don't like. There's that. There's an Eagle Claw capo. That's like $25. It works okay, but it's kind of a big, bulky system. There's a Shub sliding capo where you screw it in and you slide on metal to push it down. You can use that. Or you can just improvise and get a pin top. I think it was Papermate that made those ones that are perfect for this. But you basically shove something under there to lift the string up. And that effectively does the same thing as pushing the string down. You could put a piece of wood under there, something like that. Or again, you could just tune it. Everybody, happy playing!